Gods need servants now? In the Ethiopia Kebra Nagast, this incredible book tells us that the daughters of Cain, with whom the angels had companied, conceived. They actually did conceive. But they were unable to bring forth their children, and they died. And of the children who were in their wombs, some died, and some came forth, having split open the bellies of their mothers, they came forth by their navels. So this was some hideous, like Rosemary Baby Plus. It obviously didn't work very well. Another Gnostic text, please do not ask me to pronounce that. The daughters of darkness became pregnant as a result of the beauty of the forms of the emissary. As a result of the beauty of the forms of the emissary. That's exactly what Celtic mythology says, that the evil ones were incredibly handsome physically. In fact, in Gaelic, the term we still use today for beautiful, usbre, means beautiful. They'll see a beautiful child and they go, oh, he's such a bray. All right? And that was the king of the Nephilim from Irish mythology. It's a weird thing. Now, they say that, and the fruits of their bodies fell upon earth and consumed the blossoms of the trees. So then Samyaza, their leader, says to them, we have this quote from the book of Enoch and so on, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. Now, most scholars think that this sin refers to the physical impregnation we've just been talking about. Actually, sadly, unfortunately for us, the human race, it does not, in fact, mean that. A lot of beings have probably come to this planet, and probably still do. They do their little thing, they look at some rocks, they do their research, and then they're gone. They do not violate what Gene Roddenberry called the prime directive. The group that we are going to examine in a minute did do that. But it wasn't just the physical impregnation of the females that is the sin that is involved. That great sin, ladies and gentlemen, which we have to understand, was something else that happened approximately 30 to 50,000 years ago. And it was the transgenic experimentation, the genetic hybridization of our original forefathers that were on this planet. That means, very simply, the crossing of alien DNA. Humanoid, yes, but alien DNA with the DNA of our forefathers. In Genesis 1 we read, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Let's not get into that whole thing about the hour right now. That's always been a bone of contention. I'd like to explore it, but we haven't got the time. Just let's focus on the fact that it's saying after our likeness. The gods are making man in their likeness. Corinthians backs this up. We read, the first man, Adam, became a living being, the last Adam, a life-giving spirit. 2 Adams? Well, wait a minute. How come we never learned that in Sunday school? What's this 2 Adams bit? The spiritual did not come first, says the passage, but the natural, and after that the spiritual. The first man was of the dust of the earth, the second man from heaven. See, it sounds unspiritual until you decode it. They're literally telling here that the first man, Adam, was of the earth, and the second one is a creation from up there, from the heavens. He's spiritual. That word is so colored that we think it means something holy. It doesn't. It means not of the earth. Another term you might want to use in reference to this is the firstborn. This is a reference to these sons of the serpent, the first beings that they created. This hybrid race, also known, I believe, as the race of the Elohim. So when you hear about the Jehovahs and the Elohims, that's what you're hearing about. The term that I prefer to use, more modern term in my book, is Homo Atlantis, because this being actually was created on Atlantis. And what a remarkable being indeed. And we're talking to the alien side, it's Mr. Spock, plus thousands of years. Very, very advanced technological beings. And then something else that the alien masters didn't have and probably didn't even understand. The human component, which I believe had the moral sensibility, the violet ray. At least it had the connection to the Earth Mother, the Matrix. A remarkable entity. And we are, in fact, descended from him. George Norrie asked me last night, do you mean that every single is there anybody with a pure, human blood? No, they're not. Every single being today has a various, cocktail of this. We're going to explore that more in a minute. However, the sons of the serpent, the Elohim, you see, had it all turned on. They were just equally intelligent, and I believe they're actually a little bit more, grounded and intelligent than even their masters. So to cut a very long story short, they decided that, wait a minute, this servitude bit, no, we're not into that gig. We want to, blow this status quo. So after an undiscernible time, undisclosed time, they decided to exodus. They decided to leave the continent of Appalachia, to vacate. And they did so, and they set up their own base on another continent on our planet at that time, which was known as Oceania, or better known as Lemuria. And they set up their own thriving culture there. And many of the scholars who look into this say that it's all the high culture, you know, the Mozarts, the Beethovens, the Salvador Dali's, the whatnot. That's where that's coming from. Okay? Lemuria is an interesting name. Etymology tells us an awful lot. It means the land ancestral, land of the ancestors, from Mu or Muhaidevi, the Hindu mother goddess. This goddess was the personification of Lemuria itself, the motherland of humanity. Shiva, her counterpart, the great father of humanity. An Indian Tamil text, the Silabhadarakan, says that describes a lost continent in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. It calls the Kamai Nadu, or the Kamari Kundum, that is, means the dragon land of the immortal serpents. There's that word again. The dragon land of the immortal serpents. Well, who are these immortal serpents?